This is a fantasy football podcast. What do people in fantasy football love to do? We love to draft. We are going to go 1 through 12, drafting our favorite running backs from the 2023 class. Keegan is not going to be able to finish this draft because he hates it so much, because he hates all these smalls. But we're going to 1 through 12. We have a snake draft, okay? So it's a classic fantasy football snake draft. Aidan, he won the lottery, so Aidan is going to be drafting first. Keegan is going to be drafting second. I'm going to be drafting third, so I'm going to have the wraparound 3-4. We all know how snake drafts work. So here's how we're going to do it. We're just going to pick the guy that we like, that we think is going to have the biggest fantasy football impact. I don't know, maybe year 1, year 2, guys that I think you'd really should be targeting for Dynasty, straight up. If you don't play Dynasty, this should be helpful for redraft, especially for like the first 4 or 5 guys. If you're a Dynasty person, this is going to be super helpful for you for the whole entire podcast. So if, again, you're just playing redraft, the first like 5 probably be pretty important. But after that, keep listening, because come on, we don't want you to leave. Okay, so Aidan, you are on the clock. First pick. You don't even have to tell me who it is.
Yeah.
Dewayne McBride. So tell us about Dewayne McBride.
Yeah, this was a tough one. So I think it goes without saying, like you mentioned, if you're in a dynasty league and you're preparing for rookie draft, this guy's not only 1-1 here in our running back draft, but he should be your 1-1 in your rookie drafts. Bijan Robinson is, what a beautiful specimen Bijan Robinson is. His body of work the last 2 years at the University of Texas has been nothing short of spectacular, whether it's running in between the tackles, absolutely taking people's ankles on the edge, or completely spinning and making catches 20, 30 yards downfield. It feels like there's not a tool that he doesn't have in his bag that is going to make him an absolute soul. When we talk about 3-down backs, someone that's going to be there, rushing, catching, giving you those boosts in your PPR leagues, there's nothing Bijan Robinson can't do. You look at the tape and it feels like it's kind of just a man amongst boys a lot of times. Just the stiff arm, the juke, he's probably 4.4, 4.5 speed.
He had his athletic profile, his relative athletic score was like close to a 10. This guy's the whole.
And he just looks faster in pads too. Like his breakaway speed, like once he gets to the next level, you can kiss him goodbye. I don't know. This is a slam dunk pick. If you're sitting on that 1-1 pick in your rookie leagues, you've got to be feeling as sure as ever about, an absolute slam dunk. That's an RB1, RB2 on your squad week in and week out.
He was just, and I've used this term probably too much that Keegan will roll his eyes, emotionally magnificent on so many levels. Him as a receiver and as a rusher, he averaged over 4.15 yards after contact per attempt, and he also averaged 1.5 yards per route run. So my guy was just an absolute animal. He led the nation in missed tackles forced. You nailed it. And the guy can hit the home run. He can run in between the tackles. He has the speed to bounce it outside. And he's just such a skilled receiver. He could be any quarterback's best friend, dumping the ball off, running screens. I mean, he's the most complete running back prospect that we've had since Saquon Barkley. Yep. I'm not putting him in the Saquon tier because Saquon truly is the home run hitter, where it was like you make one missed tackle, it's over 80 yards. Like Bijan has that speed, but he's more like, and I know this sounds crazy because he's so dust now, but he's more like Ezekiel Elliott, right? When Ezekiel Elliott came out of college, where it was just like, this guy's could average 15 yards per carry. He's just a freight train. Yep. Good luck trying to catch him, like trying to tackle him. Like arm tackles aren't working with Bijan Robinson. So like he reminds me more of like that Zeke mold. He's gotten comps to Edgerrin James. Shout out Indianapolis Colt legend. He's just a beast. Keegan, I know you hate the Texas Longhorns, but what are your thoughts on Bijan Robinson?
Nothing else to say. I mean, he would be the best running back in many, many drafts. Like dating back to 2017, he would be the number 1 RB in this draft. And his athletic profile is like immediate, day one, game changer. He will help change an organization's offense, without a doubt.
Aidan, you're cooking it up in the lab. Like, I don't know if you'd want Bijan on the Bears at 9. I feel like you guys have other needs, but what's your perfect landing spot for Bijan?
the perfect landing spot, I think, would be either Philadelphia or Buffalo, in my opinion. It's unlike you said, like, bad teams and average teams right now, they're in that spot because they have holes. They have holes they need to plug. And, at the top of the first round, you're looking at probably the trenches. You're looking at, edge. Whereas it's these teams that already have an embarrassment of talent where it's like, you know what, we can use pick 20. We can use pick 25 because we've nailed it over the last couple of years. We don't have these holes where we have this luxury where it's like Bijan is now, that missing piece that absolutely puts our offense over the edge. I think another sneaky team that would be interesting would be Miami as well. They've got a couple backs there. There's not too many holes on that team at the moment either, where I think that adds for what was already an awesome offense, both just to watch and for fantasy purposes. So those are my three teams right now. But I think we're all kind of on the same page that he's going to go somewhere that, is already a very good established offense.
Yeah. All right, Keegan, you're on the clock. Number 2 pick. Bijan's off the board. Who you taking?
Bijan's off the board. I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA.
Let's go, Keegan.
Yeah.
You stole him. That's who I wanted.
Charbo. I love that for you, Keegan.
Good.
You deserve that.
So
Outside of Bijan, this is the next best all-around running back in this class. I mean, this is a 6'1", 220-pound senior coming out of UCLA. A fantastic, just like I said, all-around guy. He has soft hands coming out of the backfield. He has really good weight for a running back, can carry like a 3-down workload, can do some damage on, dump offs and some passing plays that are drawn up for him. He doesn't have a maybe wow trait that Bijan does, but it doesn't mean that he's not extremely well-rounded. Like there is not a lot of holes in Zach's game when you watch him play. And because of his size, he can handle a good workload. That being said, he has a lot of mileage on his tires. He has like 640 carries in his college career, but he is a sturdy dude. And 122 forced missed tackles in his 2 years at UCLA, which is tied for third in that same time span. And also 145 rushing first downs / touchdowns since 2021. And that leads all Power 5 players. He is a fight for extra yards guy. He is a break tackles guy. He is, I can catch the ball and do some damage in the passing game guy. He is a great size, and he has a robust set of tools to avoid tackles, whether it's, kind of like a stiff arm or a sidestep or running in between the trenches. Like he is a really, really sound running back prospect. And if I'm somebody who wants to build out on a young running back that's going to get a lot of work in the NFL, Zach Charbonnet is my guy.
I'm salty, but I'm happy you did it.
I love this for you.
Keegan,
I love this for you, Keegan.
Aidan, you are also a Bruins fan, so just what are your thoughts on Charbo?
Yeah, as a UCLA fan, I've had the pleasure of watching him the past 2 years, and it's like you said, he can do it all. He averaged 7 yards a clip on just short of 200 carries last year. The dude is a certified beast. And just for fun, let's toss in 37 catches too. It's like,
yeah,
this dude is sneaky, and it feels like the combine kind of let the secret out of the bag. I've always been very high on him, even before last year. After his junior season, I was like, I hope Charbo doesn't leave. He's probably a day 2, day 3 guy already. Another fantastic season to cap off his college career. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the second running back off the board. He's a talented dude who, like you said, 3-down back, can absolutely be plugged into your offense.
And here's the other thing. When I look at some numbers on Zach Charbonnet compared to, like, I'm sure a hot pick right here would be like Jahmyr Gibbs, right? A very athletic guy. When I look at Charbonnet's like run distribution for where he's doing damage and gaining yards, he had most of its attempts in the A gap. For our listeners, like that is like the 2 spots to the right and left of your center. Had 516 yards on 79 attempts there. Had an even split between the B and C gap, where he had 34 attempts in the B, 33 in the C, both about 200 yards. And he got a bunch of yardage running out wide. So you're talking about a running back that can not only smash up the middle, but all spots of the offensive line, he's like able to do damage on and gain significant yardage on his attempts. An average, like Aidan said, 7 yards a clip on his run. Like
That's silly.
he's a plug and play guy that can just do damage from any spot and any type of run scheme.
I love Zach Charbonnet. One of my favorite stats for him, and you wouldn't think about it because of his size, right? He's like a true 6 feet. I think he weighed in at 216 pounds, 1.3 yards per route run, and 15 missed tackles as a wide receiver. He's really good at catching dump offs. He's going to be on the field for all 3 downs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He reminds me, watching him run, he reminds me of a jumbo Austin Eckler. Like, he's not going to break like long touchdown runs or anything, but like really good in between the tackles, really soft hands out of the backfield. He runs really violently. I think he would just be a plug and play starter. You put him on the Cincinnati Bengals to replace Joe Mixon.
Oh, man.
We're off to the races, fellas. I think Charbonnet is a great fit.
That makes me feel
he also
something.
kind of has a little.
That makes me
He has
feel
a little
something.
Melvin Gordon. He has a little Melvin Gordon in his game, but I'm a little annoyed that Keegan snaked me. But don't worry, I have Keegan's dynasty pick in our dynasty draft, so he doesn't get to take Charbonnet.
I don't get to
in
enjoy
real life,
any
so-
of these picks. I read a mock draft earlier in our sleeper league that me, Aidan, and Shaun are part of. I don't even have a pick until the 4th round. And you would not believe how depressing it is to look at the board in the 4th round. I couldn't even have told you who was getting drafted at that point. Like, I'm not even excited for Dynasty at this point.
Yeah. Meanwhile, me and Shaun have 3 picks in the first round.
Smarter, not harder. Okay, so that leaves me with the 3rd pick in the draft. I think this is easy. I'm sprinting my card up to Raj, Mr. Goodell, and I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. Jahmyr Gibbs is somebody that's kind of becoming a bit divisive on Twitter if you are not touching grass and you enjoy hanging out with your loved ones. He's becoming a bit divisive on Twitter because he weighed in, I think, at 199,
Mm-hmm.
and people really would have loved to see him weigh in at 200 pounds. I think that's pretty dumb. Either the guy is good or he's not. Either he's
Yeah.
going to excel in the NFL or he's not. And Jahmyr Gibbs has a lateral quickness that is hard to describe. It's hard to describe with words. The only thing you need to do when you're trying to assess Jahmyr Gibbs and how he will play in the NFL is watch him catch a dump off and have 4 guys around him, and then just kind of fast forward a couple seconds without actually watching it. And it looks like he teleported. And you're like, how did he get there? Why did no one tackle him? It does not matter if you weigh 199 pounds when you are as fast, as slippery, and have the kind of footwork that Jahmyr Gibbs has. And not only is this guy going to be able to run between the tackles, even in a slender frame, I think what the real damage that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be able to do in the NFL is as a wide receiver. We've seen the likes of Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, guys like Dalvin Cook, guys like Ezekiel Elliott when he was younger, Saquon Barkley. These guys instantly come in as receivers with home run hitting ability and transform the dynamic of the offense. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a bit more of a specialty player than, say, Bijan Robinson and Charbonnet, where you just plug and play. If you draft Gibbs, you're going to want to design parts of your offense around his skill set. But look, we just saw Travis Etienne play really well in the NFL. I'm not trying to say they're 1-to-1 or apples to apples, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is more talented than Travis Etienne. I think he's a more skilled wide receiver.
Damn. Really?
I think he's faster. Yes, I think
Wow.
he is.
Oh,
dude.
that's-
And I think Gibbs is a special talent, and I think he should be a first round pick. Like, that's how high I am on Jahmyr Gibbs. So I am sprinting my card up to the podium. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs 3rd overall in our Fat That. What do you guys think about that?
I like it. I had Charbo at 2A, 2B with Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'm glad I didn't have to make that decision. I don't think he could have gone wrong either way. When I watch Jahmyr Gibbs play football, I can't help but think Alvin Kamara, personally. The way that he's able to make cuts and go from that 0 back to full speed is the start and stop with him is pretty phenomenal, and it's deceptive too. It's like he's looking at you and like he's gone. He's just absolutely gone. A little dump off out of the backfield, little screen pass, and he's absolutely gone. I think he's going to be an absolute game changer. Again, I think you nailed it where, it's more of a, not your typical 3-down back.
I think the range of outcomes for Jahmyr Gibbs is if he goes to an offense and he hits, he could be catching 100 balls a year.
Yeah.
There were moments this season where he was playing with Bryce Young, where he was by far and away the best receiving option. Like, by far and away the best receiver on that team.
without a doubt.
and he was a running back. And he's nasty in between the tackles.
Yep.
He is nasty when he kicks it outside. Like, he is a good running back. If you go look at his Georgia Tech tape, he was a good running back in the ACC. He dominated against some of the best competition in all of college football at the SEC level. If you go and look at his LSU tape, LSU had a great run defense that shut down a bunch of good running backs in this draft. Jahmyr Gibbs was still a difference maker in that game as a wide receiver and a rusher. And I'm telling you, he can bounce it outside, and his 4.36 speed is unlike you cannot tackle him. You think you have him, and he's just gone. So, dude, I don't care if he's 199 pounds. Gibbs is special. I see Jamaal Charles as his.
Wow. That's no way. No.
No.
Keith said, nope.
No. Jamaal Charles is way more talented as a running back. And you're not even talking about the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs is not like an impact player in the red zone. He is a guy who will get 5 to 10 catches a game and be super impactful from a PPR standpoint. But like, he's not your goal line back. That's why I don't believe in the Alvin Kamara like comparisons. Like, Alvin Kamara is getting featured on a goal line and somebody who's getting touches with opportunities to score on a goal to go situation. Jahmyr Gibbs is not that. Is he great on the outside? Yes. Is he an unbelievable athlete? Yes. But he's not Jamaal Charles. You know, he had most of his attempts done out wide at Alabama. Not a lot of stuff in the intermediate zones of the offensive line, like B and C gaps. Second most in the A gap, like right behind and to the left of the center. But he's great out wide. Like more like a Raheem Mostert type profile with like outside zone runs with that type of running back. He's not. I love the talent and I think he's really good, but to say he's Jamaal Charles is like, that's crazy.
I didn't make that comp either. It was also Daniel Jeremiah.
Daniel Jeremiah said that?
Yes. You need to remove your Jahmyr Gibbs bias, dude. This guy ran a 4.36 at the combine.
I don't give a shit.
He's a freak.
Keegan hates fun. He hates fun. He hates running backs.
Okay. Well, enough about Jahmyr Gibbs. This will be fun to actually argue about in person. I'm saying fuck it. I don't need normal running backs. I don't need it. I don't want big guys. I don't want over 30 BMI.
I know what you're doing here.
I am running to the podium and I am taking Tyjae Spears
I knew it.
Tulane. I am 26 years old, fellas. I turned 27 last month, and Tyjae makes me feel things I haven't felt since maybe I was 10, 12. Childlike ones. When Tyjae Spears gets the rock, it's for that Tulane offense. I think what's really impressive about Tyjae, because he's another one of these tiny guys, right, that Keegan absolutely hates, is that the guy was able to generate a ton of yards after contact. He averaged 4.55 yards per carry after contact. He averaged 6.9 yards per attempt. He had a 1.24 yards per route run. So this guy was dynamic, making people miss. He had one of the highest elusive ratings according to PFF. This guy was graded out as one of the best rushers in all of football by PFF, and he absolutely dominated in the the American Conference? What is that conference they play in?
I don't know.
What American Conference? It's the one that Cincinnati plays in, I think. But again, PFF has this elusive rating, which is like really, PFF has this elusive rating. The number one elusive rating is Bijan Robinson, 169. Tyjae Spears, number 3, 140 beasts.
Who's number 2?
And Dewayne McBride from University of Alabama, Birmingham, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode. But
spoiler alert.
Tyjae is somebody that's really raised his draft stock, having a really strong senior year. Tyjae also had a really strong senior bowl. So he might not be somebody that profiles as an every down back, but he kind of reminds me of Tony Pollard, the way that he runs the rock. He has that kind of breakaway speed. He has that kind of stature. And I think that if you put him in the right offense and pair him with the right running back, he could be really dynamic. And I think he'd be excellent in fantasy as a PPR running back. But Keegan, I know you already hate it. So your big reservations on Tyjae.
He's the biggest riser on the running back groups right now. I think from, like, as you said, like his Senior Bowl performance and just like he had a really good senior year. And he actually had some really high profile performances in his senior season at Tulane against some really good competition, had some good games. I don't really dislike Tyjae Spears. I think he's as any player is, but he's a landing spot situation where I think he's got to go to the right team to see his full skill set flourish. But I mean, you can't knock the production that he had, even though their strength of schedule wasn't perfect. It's not always SEC teams or anything like that, like Gibbs is playing against, but pretty good production at the college level, a little bit undersized, but he's kind of like a do-it-all like back. So I don't dislike it. I think he's pretty well-rounded, all things considered, especially at his size. He's an interesting talent, and I think he's had a really good impact on his draft stock with his last season in the Senior Bowl. So maybe a team like with a good O-line and a like 3rd round, 4th round, like wants to take a flyer on him, and that would be a great situation for him. But
Aidan, you got anything to add before Keegan makes his pick?
No, I thought that was great. Keegan kind of hit the 2 points that I was going to hit. One being production. He had almost 2,000 all-purpose yards. You can knock the conference. Like, you can try to nitpick all you want. He still went for nearly 2,000 yards and
pretty
20
good
plus
production.
touchdowns. It's like, you watch his tape and this dude's slippery.
His USC.
It was
his USC game.
Yeah,
was
that's kind
awesome.
of the I was referring to.
Absurd.
Great,
absurd.
Great vision.
If you haven't watched Tyjae Spears' USC game, it is crazy. I mean, USC had a terrible defense, but Tyjae puts it all on display in terms of his shiftiness as a wide receiver, what he can do in between the tackles, what he can do hitting the home run play, what he can do bouncing it out wide. So that's why I feel great about taking Spears right there. Keegan, you're on the clock.
Just do it, Keegan. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, so we're gonna draft Devon Achane here from.
Woohoo!
There he is.
Let's go,
There
baby.
you giggle.
You got to draft one of these smalls. Of course, you took the smallest one.
Dude, this is the best
the
small draft prospect in this class for sure. Obviously, I'm super biased. We'll get that out of the way. I'm Texas A&M fan, have been my whole life. But I've watched Devon Achane his whole career, and there's like no knocking the fact that he has game-changing speed. Not just a game-changing football speed, like USA Olympic qualifying track speed. He is a big play threat. He's also a wonderful receiver. He has home run speed. He is a really, really versatile back, and the biggest knock is his size. Obviously, he's really tiny. He's 5'9", 185 pounds ish.
5'9". Devon Achane came in at 5'9", 188 pounds. For context, the one that Keegan hates, Jahmyr Gibbs 5'9", 199. So just context there.
But
Achane is 5'9", 188.
Tiny.
To be fair to Devon Achane's, credit, he played a workhorse role in the SEC. He got a workhorse role, and he had to play behind CJ Spiller for his junior year and still had a ton of impact as kind of like a secondary role. And when he was able to take over all of A&M's offense, like he was a mover and a shaker for them. And it's not, he's playing SEC talent. He's going up against Bama's and LSU's and Georgia's of the world. And, he had 196 attempts, and he was a really good running back. Goes for Goes for like 1,100 yards on 196 attempts, was super impactful. He's going to get knocked for his size, and he will definitely be a situational running back, but he's really good contact balance. I've watched so many of Devon Achane's games, and he is small, and at the NFL level, it'll be a little bit different, but in college, like, he's not afraid to get a little dirty and stay up top and continue running. And he is just so slippery. And his cut ability and his speed is like game changing. He's going to be very situational, but he's going to need to go to a team that has a like thumper, and he can be a slasher role for somebody and be really, really good.
Am I crazy to think that he could play more than people are? I watched him play against LSU. He kind of seemed like someone that could be it's weird. He plays above his size, his style. Like, he's inviting contact. He seems a little stockier, right?
Bro,
it's
he
weird.
He plays way above his weight.
I think he could be a 3-down back. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but he could be your tiny back. I saw weird bits of like Frank Gore, even though he's just way faster and way tinier. But I saw his play style. Like, he was always moving forward, even though he was tiny. And I really appreciated that. In his game against LSU and that Texas A&M offense, watching tape on that offense, I wanted to gouge my eyeballs out. They were so bad. I hated watching them. But Achane was just making it happen in just a disaster class.
He's also first team all SEC running back in the SEC. He, in 2021, when he only started one game of the 12 because of CJ, he averaged 7 yards a fucking carry. I mean, he plays so much bigger than he is. Get him to Kansas City and play with Isaiah Pacheco, and let's see what we can do.
Wow, that'd be a fun
I should have
fit.
taken Achane. I fucked up.
Dude, dude, like even somebody like a Miami offense for Achane, like, you know, let's see what can happen. I think a team is going to be very happy when Achane walks into that locker room.
Give them more speed.
Put him on the Niners, home run hitter. Okay, Aidan, 6th pick. I think I know who you're taking.
So I decided to go. I was thinking hard about this one.
Big Ten.
I am going Big Ten. I'm staying in state with my Chicago Bears. I'm going Chase Brown. So
there it is, Illinois, baby. Illinois. I sound like a Californian. Illinois.
Chase Brown, again, just kind of production. This dude has absolutely lit it up during his college career at Illinois. One of the big knocks on him, obviously, he's got over 600 carries in his collegiate career. So, again, maybe a little worrisome, you know, how much tread's left on the tires. But, you know, back-to-back over 1,000 yards, average over 5 yards a clip. One of my favorite things about him is over the years, his improved ability as a pass catcher. In 2020, had 7 receptions, double that in 2021 with 14, and had 27 last year. So I don't think it's crazy to say that Chase Brown could be a 3-down back in the NFL. A little undersized, great speed, clocking in at 4.4. And again, a pretty good resume in terms of what he's done on the big stage with, you know, big time teams there in the Big Ten. So in my opinion, I love Chase Brown. I watched him quite a bit over his collegiate career. At the 6th pick here, I'm feeling pretty good about getting him there.
Hand up, didn't have him on my board.
Wow. I'll tell you what, you are missing out, Keegan. You are missing out on Chase Brown.
He was a combine winner.
Yep.
He was a freak at the combine. He ran a 4.43. He graded out really well in terms of BMI. His relative athletic score was 9.75, which was 3rd best. For context, Bijan Robinson's 9.81. So it's no guarantee that just because he's an athletic freak that he's going to be good in the NFL. But he has home run hitting speed, and he's got good hands as a wide receiver. He has good balance. He's kind of tiny, but he's pretty fun to watch on tape. I love it. Keegan, the 7th pick. Who you got?
Gosh, the 7th pick, huh? I mean, I don't even know, like 7 of these guys. Like, are we really going through it?
We are, Keegan.
That's the best part.
And for all 5 of you that are still listening,
God,
we appreciate you.
You know, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go with a guy that I actually didn't mind watching on tape here, but Shaun Tucker, 5'9", 207-pound junior out of Syracuse. He is a very interesting prospect to me just because I don't want to call him dynamic, but he's really patient runner. It has like really good instincts for finding open space, and he can create space really well because of his patience. Low to the ground, like super good run balance for fighting through contact. Like he breaks arm tackles left and right, and his yak ability is awesome. But he's kind of like a north-south runner. You're not looking for him like going lateral a lot, especially on tape. And there's many moments on tape where you watch him, and it's almost like his brain is not keeping up with his body. Like he's not fluid with the cuts sometimes. He has the ability where he has to like slow down. And when he thinks about cutting, like there's many moments where you kind of see him fall and stumble, but good north-south runner, really patient, strong body, like really good balance, like can kind of like beat you up a little bit on like back-to-back runs. And he has good speed and size combination together that make him a little bit well-rounded. I brought this up about Gibbs, but his pass protection issues are not great. So that could keep him off the field in some like pretty apparent pass situations and might deter his ability to stay on the field at the NFL level. But I still think he's a good running back prospect overall.
Look at you, Keegan. That was very descriptive of Shaun Tucker. I know that basically he had an incredible sophomore season. broke out in a major way, over 6 yards per carry, almost 1,500 rushing yards, had a massive sophomore season. And then his junior year wasn't as good. And I know, Aidan, you knew a little bit about Sean Tucker.
Yep.
I'm curious to know your thoughts before I share my picks.
Yeah, I'm a big Sean Tucker fan. I was kind of going back and forth with him and Chase Brown. I see pretty similar running styles too. It's like you said, Keegan, very decisive runner. Again, he's not the sexiest pick, but very decisive. The hole's there, he's gonna hit it. Kind of, 5-10 yards, like just a very good, clean runner. Again, it's he's not your absolute game changer home run hitter, but I think you feel good about having him, whether he's your lead back, your second guy in rotation there. I think he's going to get you there. And, with his size too, not the biggest guy, but pretty tough goal line carries. So I like Sean Tucker.
Curious to see what some NFL coaching and practice can do for his game, because as I was mentioning, he just has an imbalance of power and finesse, and he doesn't know how to beat both. And I don't know how coachable that is. I'm not an NFL player, an NFL coach, but it will be interesting to see what he can do.
You don't ball?
In kind of like an NFL training regimen, and see where that takes his game. I think he has a lot of tools to be a pretty good running back. Somebody that kind of hangs around the league for a little bit longer than we thought. And in 5 years we'll be like, oh, Sean Tucker?
Someone's going to get a nice day 3 pick in Sean Tucker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. We totally missed somebody on a wrap route. We should get a new host. Aidan, sorry, man, you lost the 7th pick in the draft. Who are you going to take 8th overall?
I think I'm going to take your guy, to be completely honest. I think I'm going Dewayne McBride out of UAB.
No.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do it. I'll be honest. I was looking at Sean Tucker potentially. Keegan scooped him up. There's one other guy who I won't name drop. This is kind of another guy when you look at Tyjae Spears, it's production, not the highest level, but this guy was an absolute beast. 7.4 yards a carry, over 1,700 yards. One of the biggest knocks on him is pretty much a complete non-factor in the passing game. Maybe it's the offensive scheme, maybe it's the hands, I don't know. So again, that 5 catches over the span of the last 2 seasons. Again, as we're all just PPR fiends these days, it's get him the rock, get me that greedy extra point there. So again, I think that's one of the big knocks on him, but maybe that's something he adapts to at the NFL level. It's such a big part of NFL running backs, but this guy is pretty game breaking in my opinion. I think he could be an absolute beast at the NFL level. When we talk about guys that are either late day 2 or late day 3, this is going to be someone that instantly slots into a running back room and produces out of the gate.
I cannot believe you staked him from me. This guy, if you weren't watching University of Alabama Birmingham, Dewayne McBride was putting
up. Of course.
He was putting up borderline Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
Dunking.
Just an absolute freak. If you look at all the number 1 rated rushers, if you look at all the PFF stats, it's Bijan and Dewayne. Those are 1 and 2. And what's crazy is it's not just a 1-year wonder. He did it for back-to-back years. He went absolutely bananas 2 years in a row. Again, he played LSU and he had average 2 yards a carry. But I mean, it's not his fault. He still got in the end.
It was a one-off.
Yeah. No, Dewayne McBride, dude, missed tackles forced, he's number 2. Yards after contact per attempt, he's number 2.
Yep.
Yards, he's number 1. Guy was just an absolute monster for University of Alabama Birmingham. Yep. Kind of bummed you took him. But for the 9th pick, I'm taking Eric Gray out of Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
He is somebody that I actually started watching today and wasn't really aware of his game. The Shaq meme.
I apologize.
I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game. I turn on the tape and I just see Aaron Jones, right? I just see, and I'm like, okay, he's got dreads coming out of the helmet. He's shifty. He's catching passes, whatever. It's Aaron Jones in my head. And then I look up his height and weight. Same height, same weight as Aaron Jones. And this guy out of Oklahoma, he was a late bloomer. It took him a while to really take off. But this guy is dynamic, running and receiving. Really well balanced, strong acceleration, is a home run threat really at any time. He's going to be able to stay on the field all 3 downs. great burst, has long speed. It just kind of a weird career. He was supposed to have really high expectations coming out of high school. Took him a while to reach it. Actually transferred from Tennessee over to Oklahoma. But his footwork and his vision have really improved, and he's really efficient as a pass catcher, and he's very creative in the open field. A lot of like jump cuts, making guys miss, really dynamic, and somebody that you really should be paying attention to because he's not going to be on all of people's radars, but I think he is a 3-down threat in the NFL. So I'm taking Eric Gray with my 9th pick, and then for my 10th pick, I didn't really want to do it. I really wasn't that impressed with it, but I think Zach Evans is just too talented of a player. Too talented of a player.
I almost took him with my wrap there.
He was the number 1 overall running back recruit in the 2020 class, so he outpaced Bijan. He's had tons of issues, like off-field concerns, injuries. He transferred from TCU over to Ole Miss. But if you're looking just at raw talent, Evans might have some of the most upside in this entire class. He's got spatial awareness. He's got really good feel for the defense. He has strong burst. He has that ability to pick up extra yardage, and he has elite athleticism. But again, he's not that consistent. He has off-field concerns. He wasn't the guy in college. Like, we're always looking for that like dominator impact. Like, you have Dewayne McBride dominating, right? Like, that's an example. You have Zach Charbonnet who dominated. You kind of wish that somebody like Zach Evans could dominate more, but you know who also had character concerns and took a while to pop? Alvin Kamara. So I'm not trying to say he's Alvin Kamara, but like, sometimes you got to bet on that talent. And number 1 prospect in the 2022 draft, and then 2022 class, ahead of Bijan. So it's just, I'm going with it. He's my 10th pick. I have to bring in a guy who will swing on upside. I think Zach Evans is somebody worth picking up.
I like it. I think it's a lot of untapped potential. Like you said, 2 years at TCU, didn't get a whole lot of touches, had a pretty solid year at Ole Miss, wasn't, like you said, the dude, like your bona fide alpha, but the athletic profile's there. Really not a lot of mileage on him. With the right coaching and the right fit, could be someone who absolutely blows up, or it could be someone who fizzles out of the league in 2-3 years. It's worth a swing, in my opinion. It's another one of those day 3 guys that I think, is worth the gamble.
Keegan, last pick of the draft for you. Who you taking?
Thank fucking God. Get me out. Instead of going with take Bigsby or any of these other guys.
No, don't take my guy.
I'm going to go with Roschon Johnson at the University of Texas.
Crafty.
Wow. Very interesting prospect profile for the NFL because he does not have the production that a lot of these guys do. Like, you don't have the same stats to lean on, like game impact, because he is backing up what could be a top 10 talent in Bijan Robinson and playing behind him for his career. So it's hard to knock him for on-field production when you don't have the opportunity to be the featured back. But to that, I say less mileage, fresh tires, and a really intriguing running back prospect that kind of got overshadowed by what is one of the best prospects in the last 5-6 years. Roschon Johnson, and listen to this, in his last 2 years has forced 45% missed tackles, like 45% missed tackle rate over the last 2 years. And that leads all running backs in the country with at least 198 attempts. You're talking about a guy who's just hiding behind Bijan with extremely good talent. And he's 6'2", 223 pounds. My whole knock on a ton of this class is like their inconsistency in size and like their profiles, like as an actual running back. This is a guy who doesn't have a ton of mileage and has fresh legs and is a big dude. Like, can be a very good tackle breaker in the league, good contact balance, like kind of has a classic running style. He gives me James Conner vibes when I watch him. Like, it gives me very good James Conner vibes where it's like we look at James Conner's game and we're like, that wasn't like that impressive. And you check the stat sheet at the end of the game and you're just like, holy shit, like how did he end up with 2 touchdowns, 85 rushing yards, and 5 catches for another 36 yards? Like, how did he do that? So he is a very interesting prospect to me because I don't know what to expect of him and there's not a lot of on-field production to go off of, but he's somebody who's got fresh legs and might be like kind of a gem in hiding.
He could be this year's Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, I like it. He had a great combine. I feel like that kind of cat's getting out of the bag of it too. It's, like you said,
the cat's out of
the cat's out of the bag on that one.
cat's out of
Yeah,
the bag,
he was
baby.
kind of in Bijan's shadows, but could totally be an absolute steal.
Yeah.
Aidan, take us home. Take us home,
All
baby.
right.
Who's your pick?
So I'm gonna go kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here. We're gonna go Deuce Vaughn at 5'5", 180. Give me a moment. Give me a moment here. If you closed your eyes, you don't know who this is. What if I told you you could get a running back over 200 carries, over 1,400 yards, and 40 catches in 2 consecutive seasons at a Power 5 conference? You say, gimme, right? Gimme.
You say, gimme, baby. What's the
The only issue is
the hang up on
the man behind the mask is 5'5", 180. So,
The only issue is he's not tall enough to legally ride a roller coaster.
It's tough, okay? So,
he's a toddler. He's a toddler in the NFL.
He's shrunk like the little mini Shrek running around like the dog.
Yes.
That's Deuce Vaughn.
That's Deuce Vaughn.
That's Deuce Vaughn. Dude.
What about with Kyler? What if him and Kyler were about
Oh my God.
Kyler's towering over
The
him.
read option with Kyler Murray and Deuce Vaughn would make me piss my pants, I think. That would be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But
oh, good stuff.
he could be a fun pass catcher. That is like a true pass. Like, there is no way you're putting Deuce Vaughn in between the tackles at the NFL level. Like, he will die. Like, he will die. But
Darren Sproles, maybe?
Made it happen.
Yeah, wow.
Darren Sproles made it
Jinx.
happen, dude.
Yeah, that was
it's just like very short running back Darren Sproles. Just like
But Deuce dominated though.
He was
like,
great.
You nailed it. Like Deuce isn't a theory where like he catches 3 balls and he takes it. Like Deuce,
the production was awesome, and he's got 4.4 speed. It's like if he gets loose and doesn't die between the tackles, like he could absolutely take it the distance.
Hey, everyone says they want a 30 BMI for a bell cow running back. He's like 29.7.
We're so
He's
close,
like
Deuce.
almost there.
We're so
He's
close,
almost
Deuce.
there to a 30
So,
BMI.
yeah, I'm taking us home.
Tank Bigsby did not get drafted. That's how I couldn't get there.
I don't know. I think something about Auburn.
He's good.
Something about Auburn too. I don't know what it. Their offense kind of just was ass. It just like wasn't a fun watch for me.
That is, if you made it to the end of this episode for Deuce, good for you. that was awesome. If you made it to the
Robinson
Deuce
stay for the Deuce Vaughn, baby.
That was a nice treat.
Who was your team? Aidan, who's your team? You have Bijan.
I had Bijan. I had, who was my second pick? Chase Brown.
Yes.
I had McBride and Deuce Vaughn.
Okay. I had Jahmyr, Tyjae, Eric Gray, and Zach Evans. Keegan, who's your squad again?
I've got Zach Charbonnet, Devon
Nice.
Achane, Shaun Tucker, and Roschon Johnson.
Keegan kind of fleeced us. I don't know how he did it. He
Keegan did
complained
well.
the whole episode and then just hit it out of the park.
He was just hustling. I was like, oh, they're so bad. And then was just absolutely doing just absolute detectives work behind the scene.
Let's put a friendly wager on this. Whoever's team scores the most fantasy PPR fantasy points next season gets I don't know, $20. Let's do it.
Well, let's put like a nice bottle of wine on the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottle of wine. You're a classy guy.
I've got
whoever who gets a free dinner. We take him out to dinner.
All right, I like that.
Take him out to dinner, have a good time. That's
man.
who. Okay, we're in. All right, gentlemen's agreement. Shake it out. Okay, fellas, this was a blast. If you are still listening, as always, please touch some grass. Go hug a loved one. Let them know everything's okay. You're just having fun, vibing with the boys. Aidan, thank you for joining. Bears Talk with you is always electric. Keegan, hopefully
Pleasure.
by the time we talk, Aaron Rodgers is a Jet.
Yeah,
Or maybe he won't be. Maybe he has to go to another retreat.
We can talk about Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, but for now, I hate him.
me too, Keegan. Me and you
I
both.
just want to get it out of the way. Like, I hate him right now, and I hate this game he's playing. But the moment that trade gets announced, like, I am going to be the Rodgers super fan. Like, I just want to let everybody know.
I'm bummed about it, but yeah, as you should.
All right, boys. Thank you for joining. Thank you everybody for listening and tuning in. And until next time.